You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today my special guest is Grant Killeen. Grant is a very accomplished entrepreneur that grew up in a small town in Alberta and runs an electrical business, Amped Up Electric, as a master electrician in the town of High Prairie, Alberta. He was the Entrepreneur of the Year in 2017, and he also owns a significant real estate portfolio. It is my pleasure to have Grant on the show today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gary. I'm excited to be here.
Right on. So, Grant, I gave a quick overview of your successes, but can you fill in the details of what your business is all about, who you serve, and how long you've been doing this for?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I started doing electrical since I was 14 years old. My dad's a master electrician, so I've been working with him summer holidays, Christmas holidays, any chance I could get, essentially. Try to make some cash while I was in school. That I ended up getting into the RAP apprenticeship program, where I got granted hours toward an actual apprenticeship while I was still in high school. So by the time I finished high school, I graduated, I had 2 years worth of electrical hours to put toward my apprenticeship, which enabled me to get my electrician journeyman ticket at 20, which was quite good. And I had to be a journeyman for 3 years before I could take my master's exam. So as soon as I could, I took my master's exam at 23, which I passed there on first try. From there, I did start a company as soon as I had my master's ticket. So we're right around the 2010 mark. I started Amped Up Electric. And at first it was just a side job, working for some people I knew, doing like maybe a basement wiring job, changing out light fixtures, essentially kind of doing the work that nobody else wanted to do locally. It's kind of too small a jobs for them to even worry about, or they would just take forever to go do it. So I was always quick to go do it, really hungry to make that extra money. Started out doing all the small stuff, which ended up making it so people are hiring me to do some bigger stuff, and got to a point where I had to hire employees relative, probably within my first year. Actually, I hired one journeyman electrician and one apprentice to get going. They essentially looked after all my side jobs, we'll call it, for Amped Up Electric, while I still had a full-time job at the High Prairie School Division as a master electrician there, and doing all the maintenance on about 18 buildings throughout Peace Country here up in Northern Alberta. I learned a lot with the High Prairie School Division. They have a really wide range of electrical systems we got to work on, like fire alarm testing, surveillance systems, burglar alarm systems, along with all their other HVAC and day-to-day electrical. So I ended up hanging on to that quite a while I grew Amped Up Electric. 2014, I had up to 8 employees at the time, including myself, which I was still working full-time.
Yeah.
I guess fast forward to today, we got out of having up to 8. That was pretty hectic. After 2015, oil, as everyone probably knows, crashed in 2015. I had a couple employees that moved away. One had retired, so I didn't really have to do layoffs due to that, but we did downsize, and I kind of stayed smaller scale with Amped Up to both let me focus on making sure all the jobs are getting taken care of. The quality was where I wanted it to be, and then also be able to do some real estate investing on the side.
Okay,
so
right on.
I no longer work at the High Prairie School Division as an employee. I run Amped Up full-time. But what I've been really trying to focus on in the last, call it 10 years, is especially the last 5, is building essentially a business that just invests in real estate.
Okay. Interesting. So has your electrical business generated significant income where you could invest into real estate type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. So Amped Up Electric, as anyone knows, the electrical industry, it's very hands-on. Like, that's what we get hired to do. It's all man hours, paid by the hour. So it's a great cash generator, a great business overall. Like I have no complaints with having an electrical business. Where I found I kind of got hung up was employees coming and going, or just not being there when you want to hire more, especially in a small, like rural community where I'm living in High Prairie. Lots of people come here. Let's say their wife gets a job at maybe the new hospital in town. They're a teacher, so they might be here for 1, 2, 3 years. Lots of times there ends up being a husband or boyfriend that comes along and they're looking for a job. If they're an electrician, then I kind of get to hire some of those. But like anything, lots of times if they get offered something else in the city, if their wife gets another job in the city or something, they tend to move away. So retention's really kind of been a challenging point, and also a limiting factor in how big I can grow it without starting to branch out and going out of town and everything, which is a possibility if I just wanted to do the electrical business and grow that to its full scale. The potential is there, but for me, I started using my amped up electric proceeds as essentially capital to fund my real estate business. Yeah. And after doing that for even probably after 2 or 3 years, I started realizing that every hour I spend on the real estate business grows exponentially, pays me back a lot more than the hours I'm actually putting into amped up electric. So I'm definitely not steering away from the electrical, but what I'm really trying to focus on is making the electrical business as efficient as possible, having that capital to be able to invest in some real estate deals and let that investment grow and start paying me back like dividends and income on the side. And that's been really, really successful to date. And I find it's a much easier to grow that area of the business for me.
Right. Just
as you scale, it tends to it's like self-fulfilling. Like it starts snowball effect, I guess is a proper term. Like it gets easier to scale as you have more, as opposed to, let's say you did that with a trades business. The bigger you get, the more hours likely you're going to be hands-on doing it on the management side of it. Whereas with the real estate, you get bigger deals. You can start having cash flows to pay property managers, to pay for looking after that area of your investment for you. So it frees your time up to be able to look for more deals or structure more deals, just walk through buildings, get to know the markets better where you're investing. So I find it's just a lot essentially easier to scale long term for me.
Yeah. Well, in your electrical business, what would you say, how would you set your apart? How would you set yourself apart from the competition type of thing?
For the real estate side, what I focus on and what me and my wife came up with early on, we purchased multiple properties, flipped them, that kind of thing. But our big stepping stone was buying a 33-unit apartment building. Me and my wife, we ended up taking that on, essentially putting in literally close to everything we had to make it, to get the down payment. And we managed it ourselves. So one of our essentially ways to make that a success was we wanted to make every single room that we rent out a room that we could see ourselves living in. And essentially that is a differentiator, because I've worked in a lot of units and buildings where, if the landlord isn't looking after it, or they're kind of sick of doing the maintenance, or, they're just sitting on the cash flows and not wanting to put it back into the buildings. Having that higher quality, higher standard of rooms and buildings, essentially, to be able to rent out to tenants, it pays you back. Obviously, it helps with the value of the building, but it really helps bring in the better tenants in as well. And with the better tenants,
Right.
essentially, at the end of the day, it's going to look after your cash flows. They're going to treat the property better. They're going to respect the property. They're going to want to take care of it because they think of it more of like a home, a place to be for the next several years, as compared to just living in a rundown building where they're just looking for something else to get out and they're not looking after yours in the meantime. So
Oh
we
yeah.
always just had the mindset like, if we would live there, it should be rentable to whoever is going to come and look.
Right.
If we kept that up, then we've never had any issues like keeping rooms filled, keeping the tenants happy, all of that sort of thing. So I would say that's a differentiator. It's just the quality of rooms and buildings that we take on.
Yeah, so like so you're successful on the electrical side and you've taken that and made some successes in your real estate. What kind of tips or suggestions would you give somebody, who wants to be more successful?
Of course, it's different person by person, depending on their industry, what they're in. At the end of the day, the effort put in is going to be received back
Hmm.
in success, in cash, in how whatever you want that to be. So for me, when I had a full-time job and I was your typical Monday to Friday employee for a lot of years. And like sometimes people around in the same situation, they look at it like a dead end. Like, okay, I go to work Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm making per year. That's my cash flows. That's what I have to work with. I sort of looked at it differently from early on, thinking, okay, this is my bread and butter money. Like I use my Monday to Friday job to look after the bills, pay my mortgage, pay the utilities, pay the vehicle, all that. But then I
Yeah.
was looking for more where I could make more money coming in so then I can start doing what I wanted to do, which was
Right.
essentially investing
Yeah.
into assets that are going to produce a dividend, a cash flow for me back for years down the line. So what I would suggest is, not saying you have to quit your job, do anything like that, but for every hour extra you work, you're an hour above someone else who's not doing that.
Hmm.
And the more services, the more use you can be to other people, people will pay for that.
Right.
And you could use that income generated to start doing what you really wanted to do. And for a lot of people, it might just be to make more money. And that
Right.
is definitely achievable. Like
Yeah.
hours in is going to be your pay back. And it's not just a matter of making that money, but being smart with it. So that money you're making, especially that extra income, if you could focus on whatever you make extra above and beyond your Monday to Friday, 8 to 5
Yeah.
job, have
Yeah.
that cash, invest in assets that are going to give you a return of investment.
Yeah. So would you say you had some goals and you created a plan from that scenario? Hi, Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we froze a little bit, but would you say you had some goals and you created a plan of how to get to where you wanted to go, type of thing?
I did.
Yeah.
So with the real estate part of it, at first I was essentially just dabbling in the market. Like
Yeah.
I was watching those HGTV shows. I was watching those flipping shows. That's what got me into it. And even though, you kind of look at them now and sort of laugh at those shows and how like unrealistic lots of it is, in my
Yeah.
opinion, it's never that smooth. But it really got me to jump in and start. When I did get started, I probably 3 or 4 years into it, I had a pretty crazy goal at the time. I said, at 30 years old, I want 30 units. And at the
Mm.
time, I had 9.
Okay.
Um, and that was around, I had 9 roughly at 25 years old. So
Okay.
to make my goal, I was always looking for the next step, a bigger building,
Yeah.
and
Right.
ended up finding that 33 unit apartment
Yeah.
off market
Yeah.
that I ended up getting in contact with the owner and making an offer on it
Yeah.
through the lawyer, everything. It was a take it or leave it kind of deal. Caught him off guard. He wasn't in for sale. Um,
Okay.
and he took it. So with that building, I I think technically I didn't have the 30 by 30, but I had 43 by the time
Right.
I turned 31. So I'll
So that's
take
pretty
it.
good.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Yeah.
from there, like anything, goals are made to be achieved and then pushed out. I
Yeah.
think anyone who wants kind of more in life, I would say.
Right.
So that's obviously no longer my goal. 37 now. Little 70 plus doors now, but
Yeah.
obviously for me the next mark's 100.
Right. Right on. Right on. So, like you've obviously had some challenges through, either through your real estate or your electrical business that you've had to overcome, type of thing. How were you able to turn some of those challenges into positives? Do you have an example that you can share with us?
uh, yeah, so essentially one of my biggest challenges was with the electrical side of the business. At the
Hmm.
time I had 3 employees, an apprentice and 2 journeymen who were really good employees at the time. One of them had moved away and one had moved on to greener pastures right around the same few months period. So I was kind of left in a situation where, like, what do I do? Like, now I don't have the employees, I have all this work. Uh,
Right.
and for me, at that time, before I had everything figured out and going again, you kind of get down in the dumps. You start thinking like, oh, maybe my business wasn't as good as I thought. Like, people don't want to work for me or work
Mhm.
at Amped Up Electric. Like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you don't have to be doing anything wrong for challenges to come. It's natural. It's gonna happen. Um, for me, all I had to do was how I started off. Like, just keep offering, have my goals set, looking forward, looking at where I want it to be, and keep offering the level of service I had, and just dig your way back out. And everything ended up working out in the end. Like, there has been times, even with the real estate, where you might have a building and you think it's going to be a nice quick flip. You want
Yeah.
to spend $20,000, potentially make 20 to 30, get into it. You realize that $20,000 reno is going to be more like 30 or 35.
Yeah.
Now, there's always usually game plans. I always like to have a plan A, plan B, plan C
Okay.
to factor all those problems in, because usually there will be something you can't see when you first get into a building or something.
Yeah.
But I would say just remember the long term goal
Right.
and don't get discouraged. Don't let like one hiccup or
Yeah.
one loss of income, or let's say one money losing property, maybe. Don't let that get you off track to your long term goal, because any successful entrepreneur out there, um, take Jeff Bezos with Amazon. 2000 happened, tech crash, 90% stock down, everything.
Yeah.
You didn't give up, you didn't quit. Like, you just keep doing your thing. You provide your service, a high quality of service, and everything at the end of the day will work itself out. It's just you
So,
have to
so,
have
so,
that.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I'm hearing is that a lot of it is attitude
Yes.
and persistence that you need to keep going. Whether you have, some bad days, but
Yeah.
you just keep your goal in mind and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the biggest thing that sets apart people I've talked to that also have successful businesses or farms or real estate businesses going on, the biggest thing is always the attitude.
Right.
It's not
Right.
only that they spend the extra hours working at something, that's also a big part of it, especially at the beginning of starting any business. Anyone who started
Hmm.
a business knows it's not easy, it's not time efficient. You're going
Yeah.
to burn a lot of hours, you're going to lose a lot of sleep. Like, no matter what anyone says, it's not easy. But
Yeah.
the number one thing for people who succeed with it and make it long term is just 100% that mindset, and having um, a focus on the goals that you set out to achieve and why you started it in the first place. Just keep remembering that.
Right. Well, that's pretty awesome. As a real estate investor, what are your thoughts on creating passive income that could enhance or even replace active income?
Yeah, short answer, love it. Uh, long
Tell me more.
answer,
Why do you love
yes,
it? Yeah.
love it because now as you've talked about, I'm a
Yeah.
businessman, entrepreneur, we'll call it
Yeah.
what you want. At the end of the day, I'm also a family man, a dad,
Yeah.
3 girls.
Yeah.
So my focus has shifted a lot once I started having kids. Like I went from obviously kid free, do what I want, work as much as I want. I worked every evening, I worked every weekend. That's all I did was work. But,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I had it early on. I don't know what made me think it even, but before I knew I even wanted kids, I always said I'm going to use my 20s, that decade, just to go as hard as I can, run my business, make
Hmm.
money. And I was
Hmm.
very money focused.
Right.
And I thought that's all that really mattered was money.
Right.
Um, had my first kid 28, then 30, and I had my third one here at 35. And what I'm really noticing is the the time balance between work, family, investments, friends, health, everything is really a more important part than just money.
Right.
Now, my love for money didn't go away,
Yeah.
but I want to be able to do it where I can spend time with my kids while they're young.
Yeah.
I can be home for their first day of school. I'm not
Right.
forced to be anywhere because I need that paycheck that day.
Right.
I could I'm very flexible with time with all the passive income and systems and operations I set up that I don't need to be in any one spot at any given day or time anymore, like even at today's time.
Yeah.
That let me go to all the like concerts, events,
Yeah.
field trips with the kids. That to me is my number one focus. Now, to
Yeah.
achieve that, I
Hmm.
know that I have to have that passive income coming in because
Yeah.
I can't just stop working, obviously at 37 and expect to be able to just stay home with the kids or something like that. I need money working for me. So
Yeah.
I luckily I started investing pretty early on and
Right.
still investing more so than ever. And my goal is that whether I'm at work, and we can call work whatever you want, working Amped Up Electric, looking at
Yeah.
apartment buildings, working out the management part of apartments, whatever you want, uh, it won't matter what I do that day. My income stream is going to be coming in regardless.
Regardless. Yeah.
And you can be at a point where I'm not going to miss anything or not be able to take that trip with the family or something
Yeah.
like that because I'm worried about how I'm going to pay the bills if I take 2 weeks off.
So it sounds
After
like the
working.
the the passive income has really helped you to gain time freedom, would you say?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Freedom of time. And to
Yeah.
me, that's totally irreplaceable. Everyone only has so much time. Um, you only ever have so many years, days with your kids, with your family. So you want to make the most of it, especially on the earlier years. So if you can do that for me, the easiest and best way that I've found is actually through multifamily investing, just simply buying good quality apartments, duplexes, fourplexes, whatever
Right.
fits your criteria.
Yeah.
Have those operations ran smoothly so you have your contractors in place so it's one quick call. You have your property managers if you have big enough deals for that. You have everything in place so no matter what's happening with those properties, for one, you're not spending the hours on it.
Yeah.
More importantly, the rental income is supplementing your income and very well could be a lot more than your day-to-day income,
Right.
essentially relatively passively with very
Right.
minimal time spent on that.
That's very, very cool. In the next 6 to 12 months, what kind of exciting plans do you have? Like either in your business or on the real estate side. What do you see happening?
Um, so for me, I'm kind of at a unique spot now where my passive income is breaking through the equal to or greater than worked income.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited for the real estate part of it to actually surpass my day-to-day operational business that I spend 90% of my time on. That I'll be able to actually have a larger income from the side investments than what I'm actually getting working day to day. Now, with that opens a lot of opportunities to obviously have the capital available to invest in more deals and to be able to scale that when with more experience and more cash flow, to be able to build that side of it out to one day down the line, could be 1 year, it could be 5, could be 20 years. I can totally get out of the electrical part of it. If I choose to do that, like it'll be a solid option, and to just focus on a totally different kind of business where it is a lot more passive.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun too. Like I like finding good properties, good deals, and offering nice places for people to live.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. If people want to connect with you, what should they do? Where can they find you?
I have an Instagram. It's this Grant Killeen. I'm on LinkedIn. That's Grant Killeen on there as well. Nothing too fancy other than that. Pretty cut and dry. You can find me, probably LinkedIn would be the best for business inquiries. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I really appreciate your time today, and it's been an awesome discussion with you. And thank you so much, Grant.
You bet. Thanks for having me on.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.